welcome to my home.
The history of vampires on film is pretty much just the history of film. The first vampire on film actually appeared in 1896, so just about a year after the first projections of the moving image. And this is really interesting because it's actually a year before Bram Stoker published Dracula in 1897. So in some ways, vampires were invented on film before they were invented in the printed word. In 1922, F.W. Murnau, the German expressionist, released NOSFERATU, a symphony of horror. And this is really the film that gave us the iconography of the vampire, the pale bloodsucker who can transform into a bat or other creatures who terrorize mostly women, suckling on their neck and turning them into fellow vampires.
We fight not one beast, but legions that go on age after age after age, feeding on the blood of the living.
If there's one film that really took Bram Stoker's book, Dracula, from 1897, and translated it in a way that was very both authentic, but also very different, it was Francis Ford Coppola with his Bram Stoker's Dracula, released in 1992. This is a film that really understood that the vampire was born in the era of early cinema. And as such, he's actually using a camera from circa 1897 for some of the shots. He's also using techniques like silhouette cutout puppets and real special effects that would have been used during that time in a film that's very much of the 90s. And it really gives the film this Victorian, Gothic authenticity that matches so well the idea of the vampire.
That means you're
A vampire, madam. Yes. And most regrettably so.
If there's one modern director who is pretty much born to make a vampire film, it's Tim Burton. And it's kind of surprising that it took him so long to get to this genre, but he did so with Dark Shadows. And of course, starring in Dark Shadows is an actor who also seems like he was born to play a vampire, Johnny Depp. Tim Burton's Dark Shadows is very much a comedy. It's actually incredibly funny, and it's an interesting twist on the vampire genre because it is very bloody, and the lead character, Barnaby Collins, is killing a lot of people in this town, but it never kind of loses that tongue-in-cheek, uncanny, and very macabre comedy element.
You ruined my new jacket. Kill him a lot.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer really takes sort of the Dracula legend and translates it to a high school. It's all centers around Kristy Swanson's character of Buffy. And we see her go from this mall rat, fashionista, head cheerleader who really doesn't take anything seriously to a fierce vampire hunter. It is a film that is funny. It does not take anything seriously. And you have one of my favorite vampires on cinema in this film, and that is Paul Rubens, AKA Pee Wee Herman.
You're gonna wish you died. Ooh. Ah.
It's not what it looks like. The Canadian film industry is no stranger to vampire films. And in 2009, you had a vampire musical called Suck released that kind of became this really big cult classic. It's really about kind of the rock and roll goth scene and how it translates into an obsession with vampires. It kind of shows how in the 2000s, a lot of directors were looking towards vampires and putting their own spin on it. The whole idea of the vampire is eternal life, something that cannot die, that will live centuries and centuries. And this is such a great metaphor for how the vampire has traveled through film history. The vampire has been there as early as 1896, and it's there with us today and will continue to be.
How am I gonna look at myself in the mirror again?
You can't. You're a vampire.
Yeah, you just gotta suck it up. Oh.